Hello everyone, Ken Horowitz here, and welcome to another episode of Melf's Musings. This week, the topic is one that is really becoming a popular one among retro gamers, and that is repro carts. I'm not talking bootlegs, scammers from Taiwan. I'm talking about actual fan-made repro carts with inserts and manuals that are being sold throughout the internet. I see this as having both pros and cons. I'm going to go over the pros first. The first thing I have to say about repro carts is that personally I think that there's a gray area between these pros and cons. I think that repro carts per se are a good thing, as they have, for instance, the first pro that comes to mind is the fact that they give us a chance to play these games on actual hardware. Yeah, I can go and I can download it on the Wii Virtual Console or on my 3DS or whatever, but the whole purpose of the retro cart in the first place is to offer the opportunity to play the game on real hardware, something that none of the other emulation or re-releases on modern consoles can actually do. And I can actually play this on my Genesis, pop the cartridge in, boot it up, and play. Another pro that repro carts provide is that they allow you to play games that might never have come out locally otherwise. You have games, for example, Land Greaser 2 on the Mega Drive, which is the sequel to Warsong. You have games like Phantasy Star 2 Text Adventures, which recently were released on a repro cart, all the games on one single cartridge. The only way to play these games before was either to download them and play them on an emulator, or to get the original Sega Mega CD release in Japanese. You know, these are games that you would never ever have the chance to play. Now, I know that someone could say, but wait, that's what we've always said before, but look at Monster World 4. Sega went and released the took the game, translated, and released it on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the Wii Virtual Console. And that's true. That is indeed true. But, of course, you're playing them on the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, or the Wii, not on your Sega Genesis. So, to date, there has never been an official Genesis re-release, but there's a repro cart, so you have that benefit. I mean, I have the manual. I don't have the actual repro, but I have the manual in English. Someone, I don't know if they got it off the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 re-release, but they actually translated the manual. So basically, these repro carts give you the opportunity to play these games that would never have been released on the Genesis. You get them cartridge, pop the cartridge in, boot up the machine, you get to put the game on the shelf. That's great. Another pro to this is the fact that repro carts keep interest in the retro scene alive. Official releases are few and far between. It's been several years since Pier Solar was released. Watermelon's coming out with a new game soon. We don't know exactly when. Super Fighter Team has released 3 already, and since 2007. Magic Girl is coming out, and Cascade as well in 2015. But that still leaves a big gap between releases that repro carts can actually help to fill. And it gives collectors and Genesis or retro gaming fans in general a chance to continue to buy games for their system. Another benefit is price. I'll give you a good example. Prices for repro carts usually tend to hover between $35, $50. But if you look at actual prices, like if I want to get Battlemania 2 Vintage on the Mega Drive, that game costs between $175 and $300 on eBay, the original complete game. Repro cart with box and manual I've seen for $100. I still think that's overpriced, but it is significantly cheaper than buying the original. Plus, it has localized artwork. Plus, it's in English. It's the translated ROM. So you're actually playing for the English version. It would be nice to get it for $40, but, you know, we have a saying in Spanish. It's a falta de pan galleta, which basically means if you can't get bread, take crackers. So you can't play the game at all on regular hardware if you don't have $300, but for $100 you can play the English version in a cartridge on your Genesis. For some people that's attractive. For some people it's not, but for a lot of people it is. But there are cons to this. The first con is the obvious one, and that's that the games are not licensed. Going back to my Monster World example, the people who made those repro carts, they don't have a license from Sega, and Sega, you know, actually used it. You know, the age-old argument with repro carts is that, these are old games, the companies have forgot about them, they're not going to make use of the licenses anyway. And then Sega comes out and releases Monster World 4 for modern consoles with a brand new translation. They took a 20-year-old game that everybody thought they'd forgotten about completely, and they translated it and they released it. So yeah, Sega still owns the rights to that, and you might get a cease and desist if you're making these repro carts, at least if Sega finds out. Going back to prices, again, $100 for a repro cart. A repro cart is basically a high quality bootleg, and you're paying top dollar for a bootleg. So many people don't think that that's fair. Like I said, there are a lot of these repro makers who only charge what they spent in cost to produce the actual cartridge, getting cartridges, the boards, and everything like that. And that's fine, that's admirable, but some of them don't. Like I said, $100 for Battle Mania Vintage, that doesn't cost $100 to make. So if the guy spent $35, $40, let's say he spent $50 to make that the highest quality bootleg he could make it, he's still making $50 profit there. And this in turn leads to what I think is the third con, which is the increase in scammers. When Super Fighter Team and Watermelon started to make their games, back then there were very few people making repro carts and things for Genesis. At least they weren't as pronounced. Now they're coming out of the woodwork. You got Face Bonus, you've got people on digital press boards, even on my own Sega 16 boards and others that show you the repro carts they make. Some of them make them for their own collection. They'll make one for them and maybe for a few friends. But it seems like now everybody's doing it. So basically, that's what I wanted to share. What do you think? Are repro carts good or bad? Do they do harm to the industry and developers, or are they a boon to collectors and fans of dead consoles? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, thumbs up the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And please head over to Sega16.com and check out our reviews, interviews, and features. You won't be sorry. So until next time, take care.